Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today, it's BookList Thursday. BookList Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book thoughts, recommendations, something bookish related. Today's theme is one of my favorites because this happens to me more times than I probably would even admit to it, but this is going to talk about books that made me hungry. So there's a number of books out there that as I'm reading it, either they're at a specific dinner and they describe a specific meal, or there's a theme involved or something, but some of these books just make me hungry for something specific. So I'm going to tell you 5 different books that definitely had me on a hunger kick, and we'll go from there. How about that? So the first one I'm going to talk about is more of an author that does have food more as kind of a theme in her books, and that is Amy Reichardt. This specific book is Luck, Love, and Lemon Pie. She also has The Coincidence of Coconut Cake, and there's another one that is an apple theme, and I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But every time I've read each of them, first of all, they take place in Wisconsin, and so they tend to have very typical Wisconsin type foods in them, like brats and spotted cow and deep fried cheese curds, which of course being here makes me hungry for them because I love them all. So The Coincidence of Coconut Cake, I'm not even really that big of a coconut fan, but the way she described that book and that specific cake, I definitely wanted to go and make myself a coconut cake. And what's really fun is in the back of them, she does actually in the book, she has a recipe for whatever it may be talking about. So this specific one, she has the recipe on page 293 for this lemon pie. It's called Anniversary Pie. So it has the whole thing in there. I know the coconut cake one also had the coconut cake recipe in it. The apple orchard one, again, made me, and I read it in the fall, which is very timely because that's when you usually go and pick apples, and there's talks about apple pie, and it just very nostalgic for me, but definitely made me hungry for those foods. So what is this book about? Luck, Love, and Lemon Pie takes place in the Milwaukee area, and it follows a mom, MJ, as she's kind of noticing her husband is more interested in spending time at the casino than really being with the family. So she's like, all right, I'll meet him where he's at. And she decides to go to the casino as well and kind of takes up poker a little bit. She tends to be kind of good at it. So it kind of goes from there. But it's going to be kind of witty. There's going to be some sort of angst among the two characters. And I don't know, Amy Reichardt's just a really good writer. I just enjoy her books. It gives me a little bit of an escape. The next book I want to talk about is absolutely hilarious, and I listened to it on audio, and it is called Food, A Love Story by Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan is a hilarious comedian, and in this specific book of his, he just talks about food. He talks about his love for bacon. He talks about his love for eating in general. It's hilarious, and again, makes me hungry for bacon. He talks about Hot Pockets. It's so funny. Highly, highly, highly encourage you to listen to the audio because it's a comedian and he reads it, and it's like a free show from Jim Gaffigan, and it made me cry, laugh. It was hilarious. But then I also wanted bacon and everything, which isn't bad either. The next one I want to talk about is Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum. This is a YA novel that follows our main character. What's her name? What is her name? Jessie. That's what I was thinking, but I kept questioning myself. So this follows Jessie as she is moved to a different city. Her mother ended up passing away, and her father has found somebody new and got remarried. So she moves from, I believe, Chicago to a city in California and starts going to kind of a very prestigious, really nice private school. And she's trying to figure out where she fits. Not only within this new family, but within this new school and these new friends. And she ends up corresponding with somebody that calls themselves Somebody Nobody. It's somebody that she goes to school with. She doesn't exactly know who it is, but she is finding some comfort in these text messages and emails and chats that she has with this person. And one of their things is they talk about, tell me 3 things. Just tell me 3 random things. And one thing that comes up is waffles. And they talk about waffles quite a bit. And then there's waffles on the cover. And I found myself with an urge to go and buy a waffle maker and make myself some waffles, which didn't make sense because I'm not a huge waffle fan, but this book definitely had me into waffles, and it is kind of a theme in the book. So it did make me hungry for those, and not just the Eggos were gonna do it, but it's all good. So it was a really cute book. I really enjoyed this. And the last book I want to talk about that definitely made me hungry like the entire time was Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. So this takes place in dual timelines. So you have Havana, Cuba, 1958, and you have Miami, 2017. And it really kind of starts with the 2017 time frame where Marisol is still mourning the loss of her grandmother, and they're going through like the process of fulfilling her will, and one of her grandmother's wishes was that she be cremated and her ashes spread back at home in Havana. So she has requested that Marisol do this. So Marisol kind of goes on this quest to fulfill her grandmother's wishes, and then we also see her grandmother surviving in 1958 Havana, where we're at the beginning of this revolution between Batista and Fidel Castro. And so her grandmother came from a very wealthy family, and so they were very well to do until this unrest kind of happened. So you see exactly how and why her grandmother's family moved to Miami. You see what they kind of left behind. The story also unfolds for Marisol, who continues to think she's very Cuban, but yet has never been to Cuba. And so when she goes back to visit, she stays with her grandmother's family, or family's friends, and they have a restaurant. And the food that they talk about, not only in that restaurant, but really in both timelines, I was so hungry for Cuban food. They were describing it in a way where I could just smell it almost. It was so well done. It's a very descriptive book. I did enjoy this story. I'm interested in learning more about it. I didn't love the whole entire thing, but I do still think about it, so maybe I should actually reconsider. I think I gave this 3 stars, but maybe it's more of a 3.5, 4-ish, because there's definitely parts of it that weren't that fantastic, but then it did keep me engaged and keep me wanting to come back and finish it, even though it was a little slow. But it really wanted me to have Cuban food, 100%. So those are the 5 books that have made me hungry. I know that there are more, absolutely more. Anytime I read Harry Potter, I wanted a butterbeer for sure, but I thought that was a little too easy. I wanted to give you some different ideas. So hop over to Sarah's channel and see what she has for books that make her hungry. Link is below. Otherwise, comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye.